ahead.
Okay, welcome to the Policy Committee meeting, May 19th. Has this meeting been properly posted?
Yes, it has.
And do you need to take a roll, or do you know everybody's here?
I know everybody's here. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get on. Do we have any citizens that have joined us today?
Right now we have none.
Okay, that's rare, isn't it? All right, no bright lights. Then today we have 2 action items, the minutes and 1 policy. And then we're going to have a demonstration on the board docs that Lynn's going to conduct, and we'll see if there's anything else we want to talk about later. So let's get the 2 action items through. The first one is approval of the policy minutes from April. Okay, that's it.
I move that we approve the minutes from the April 21st as presented.
Second. Seconded by Corey. Any discussion on the minutes from April?
No, thank you.
No.
Okay, Linda, in this case, we would ask you to take a roll call.
Okay. Corey Montajo,
Aye.
Diane Voigt,
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye. Minutes are approved. 3-0.
Thank you.
And we have a policy revision, policy 6116, time and effort reporting. And I made I think an email or something to Joe a couple of days back that this requires some explanation because I don't know what it's about. So Joe, can you help us with that?
Yeah, so for employees that are paid through a federal grant, title grant, the IDEA special education grant, they're required to do time and effort reporting. And that time and effort reporting looks one of 2 ways. If the person is paid entirely out of the grant, they have to submit twice a year a certification that all of their work falls within the scope of the permissions of that grant. There are other employees that have to do hour by hour submissions of time if they're doing hourly work in the grant. So for instance, if somebody is 25% grant employee, 75% district funds, they have to do a different type of reporting. The good thing is all of our staff in Waukesha fall into the semi-annual, the twice a year certification for employees that are paid out of the grant. Now, the reason why this is in front of you is because some of the services that we would have otherwise delivered through the IDEA grant or the title grants we're not able to provide them in the same capacity that we were prior to the shutdown. And so the language, the state said it's okay for us to continue to pay employees out of the grant. So the business office was given notification that says, you know what, if somebody is coded to the IDEA grant or somebody is coded to the title grant, they continue to be paid from those grants. What this policy does then is align our policy with what our permissions have been given from both the state and the federal agencies. And so you can see the language in green, the underlined language in green in your policy addresses these unforeseen substantial closures from school, and then how we're going to go about continuing to pay those employees through the grant.
So would this be a revision that would stay in place, or is it just for this time?
Well, it's a revision that I would recommend we keep in place. Certainly the policy could be reviewed down the road, but I wouldn't want future boards or future administrations, hopefully future administrations, I don't want to ever have to revisit a time like this again in my career, where they would have to come back and add language in differently. And why I think it's nice for us to get it in here, it'll address what we've currently been doing for the last trimester of this school year, but we don't necessarily know what the fall semester is going to hold for us or what all of next school year could hold for us. And if it's on the books, it's on the books, and we're able to proceed accordingly.
Good. Okay. Because we're learning about this, if Corey or Diane, you have some questions you want to ask, fire.
I do have one, if I may, Bill. It talks in the second paragraph about the compensation for employment services includes all remuneration paid currently or accrued. Are we talking about this money being accrued, or are they actually said to have earned it even if they weren't able to provide the services they normally would have?
Well, there's nothing new about what's in paragraph number 2. Paragraph number 2 talks about how we are required to pay an employee through the grant. So any compensation to that employee through a grant needs to follow these rules. And so you can see items 1 and 2, reasonable for the services, so we can't inflate a rate through the grant to compensate an employee. And then follows an appointment made in accordance with the district's written policies. So for instance, a speech pathologist that we code to the IDEA grant would be paid commensurate to a speech pathologist that we're paying out of local funds to provide their services. So that's how this gets tied together. So the first and second paragraphs there were in policy prior to me coming to the meeting tonight.
And the part at the bottom of that page is just the addition because of the circumstances.
Correct.
Corey,
So
did
the
you have,
I'm so-
go ahead.
Thank you. So the existing language of 6116, I would guess that was, we see quite often a requirement to get the grant. This is dictated by the feds. So the new language is just to deal with the pandemic. It doesn't
Correct.
change underlying policies. Okay.
Correct. And
Very
these
good.
policies, when we developed this policy manual a few years ago, these policies were all worked through the business office. And our auditors every year, they will look at, for instance, auditors that are paid out of the grant. Employees that are paid out of the grant are generally part of the audit. And so any policy that we have that applies to those employees is generally referenced during our audit. Which is that's why this gets tied straight up to federal requirements under IDEA and title.
Thank you.
Anything else on this policy revision?
No, sir.
If not, we would be seeking a motion for approval.
I will move to approve the amendments to policy 6116 as presented.
I second it.
Seconded by Diane. Thank you. Further question?
No.
None. Lynn, if you would take roll call on 6116.
Absolutely. Corey Montijo,
Aye.
Diane Voigt,
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye. So that is the committee approval. This one will go forward to the board in June.
June.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that was the only policy to deal with tonight. Lynn has got a presentation here, a demonstration, I guess would be the right word for us. Is that correct, Lynn?
That is true. Let me get my screen set up here for you.
And Diane, as Lynn's getting set up, you've had some experience looking around at BoardDocs through the demos and everything like that.
Yes.
I don't know if everybody else has, but please feel free to jump in as Lynn is going through it. Knowing that you've got some familiarity through the tech committee and everything, you could add some insights for all of us.
I was able to watch a presentation at the state convention as well. The lady that was supposed to come out for us and do the demonstration was there, so I had a chance to see one of her presentations on, at the convention center.
Excellent. So I'm going to share my screen with you, which is this is the public landing page for the school district of Waukesha. Actually, let me log out as me so we can look at it as it looks publicly. So this is the same system or program, if you will, that we've had for all of our policies. Up here where my mouse is where policies have been. And if you've looked around in that at all, that remains the same. What's new is this tab next to it called Meetings. And again, that's accessed from the main screen. And what I did for tonight is I added in the 2 meetings that we have this evening. This right now is us, the policy committee meeting. So you click on that. It lists the date, and I'm noticing I need to put the time in there. So there's a link to the meeting that we're in right now. So if you'd click on this video button, that would take you as the public, as an attendee to this meeting. And then we have view the agenda here and print the agenda if someone wanted a paper version of it.
Is that video link just active when it's live, or will that show the recording?
I have a choice as a publisher in this program to make it live or make the link active at any time or the day of the meeting. And then as a host of this meeting in WebEx, which is completely separate, I can control when that meeting starts. So
Thank you.
we have internal controls for that.
You mentioned that the people that want to click on that video would be, they would really just be watching it. They wouldn't have like a citizen that's visiting with us and wants to talk to us. Does it go, is it back?
Correct. In this virtual time that we're in right now, this would take people to this meeting that we're on right now in WebEx. But as an attendee, if they registered and they'd like to speak during that public speaking time, they could speak.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll always just publish the public link here. As a board member, you will eventually have a login, a password, and you will have different access, allowing you to get into more confidential things as well as access virtually as a panelist like you are right now. I foresee that if we go back to face, this video link will take us to the cable channel, YouTube channel, how people were able to view it pre situation we're in. Any other questions about this screen? I'm going to go on to the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ready to go.
All right. So then someone wants to look at the agenda. They click on that button. On the left side here is the agenda. As we have it in our paper copy that we've had in the past, our general business, the meeting notice, opportunities for citizens to speak, and bright lights. And we have our action items, and where there is an attachment, there's a piece of paper here, icon, and that means you can click on something to see it. Click on that, it'll take you to a new screen. Click on the document, and it'll download and show you the item that was discussed just a few minutes ago, the board minutes. If we go to the item, the action item that we had about the policy that was just discussed, same thing. The executive summary information that you're used to seeing as the cover page to this action item is all here. It lists, this is an action item, what it is, and then you can click on the actual policy that was the attachment in our paper packet.
Here in the lower left-hand corner, once it's downloaded?
Correct.
Okay.
That would all be set up. That would all work however someone has their computer set up. So some people may have it so that it automatically opens a PDF document. Sometimes it's downloaded. So.
Okay.
However, a PDF is opened on your device that you're using is how this would work.
Yeah.
Did I go too fast before when I clicked on it?
No.
Do you want to see that again?
This, as you do that clicking, Lynn, we talked about how we could go in and add notes, annotate a document, that we had a chance to figure out how that can work once we make the PDF download.
Not yet. I'd have to play around with one. Yeah, I haven't had done that yet. No, but that would be something if I would create a fake meeting, if you will, and add in some items to that. If someone would be willing to work on that with me.
Oh, sure, I
Yeah,
definitely would.
Lynn, I would be happy to. I mean, if you,
Okay.
for your iPad, if you have the Apple Pen, and you have certain programs, there's an Adobe Reader program that any of our files could be downloaded to. So you see time and effort reporting that could be opened up in your iPad. You certainly could make notes in there on that. I believe, hold on one second here. I've got an app on my computer. Notability, I think, allows you to do that as well. So you could use Notability. You could download your policies to Notability, and then Notability would allow you to use that Apple Pen to make annotations if you wanted to.
So Apple Pen is not an app, it's an actual pen. It's almost like a stylus.
Can you see my screen?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the Apple Pen. And it just it allows you to write as if you were writing in a notebook.
Cool.
Excellent. Thanks, Joe.
Lynn, before you go
Sure.
on to the next, how did you open this? Would I be going into the school district homepage and then opening it, or then getting into the BoardDocs?
Sure. Let me go.
I didn't see where you did that.
Absolutely. Let me go to our district homepage. Right now, we don't have it
Okay.
on the front page. So, but if we go under Board of Education and policies, right now under policies is the link to it. So this is not where we want it. This is not how we want it to look. But the
Okay.
same way you would get to policies, you'd get to this.
Okay.
Right now.
I've done that just recently. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure. And then I went to meetings and I chose the meeting. And then if you notice, once you go into a meeting up here at the top, you get an agenda item across the top. That's not there unless you go into an actual meeting. So you're going to go to a meeting and then find the agenda. And then I clicked on the agenda. Here's our items. If there is no little paper icon here, that means there's no attachments, but there is more information on the screen when you actually click on an item on the left. And we will, get better at this and growing and using it. This was just quick for demonstration this evening. Any of these items can be printed with with the print icon up at the top of each item. So you can print anything and everything out, including just what's on the screen or the actual attachment. This item over in the far right, where my mouse is right now, is a share link. So anything that's public, like these items are, you could click on that and either email it or copy it and put it in some other document to share with anybody. So there's so many features in here that makes us very open and transparent and shareable by utilizing this service.
May I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
The things that are confidential, executive sessions, whatever, is that link, does it disappear? Or do we have to be extra careful not to send those things out?
I think it will either disappear or it will only go to certain people.
Yeah, there's
absolutely
a portal that board members will have that you'll use your district login credentials to get to. And that's then where when that private portal is set up, that's where those confidential materials would go.
Okay.
So if no one has any more questions on this, I can show that login portion. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Not so far. We haven't tried it yet.
Okay. So I'm just going back to the main screen to get that out of the way. And then up at the top, you've got some normal navigation things like home, I think may take us to the district homepage. Don't quote me on that. Search, you can search the whole entire BoardDocs site. So you can search policies, meetings, minutes will be out here. Included with the meetings is the agenda. So as we move forward with this for months and months and years, et cetera, you can look for something with just a general search and it'll bring up whatever matches that search.
Could you try for us, as long as we have some time and effort, one? And just to see what would pop, in terms of the policy related things for time and effort?
Time and effort. And you notice I have all these different boxes checked.
Kidding.
Checking everything that we have. So it's not a lot, but here's all the different policies. You can tell them because they have the policy at the top. Then it lists the 2 items that are on our agenda tonight. So if this was discussed at a full board and then at a committee like it's going to be, this will show up 4 times. Once for policy and once for full board.
So if any of us is keeping these documents for reference, we don't have to in the future.
Right.
Yes.
So I can go right to this
I'm
attachment.
going to show.
And I'm opening up that attachment. I downloaded it. There it is. There's the attachment. If I wanted to choose the actual policy as it looks today, not with the adds in green and the deletes in red, we can actually navigate right to that policy and it'll bring it up. There's the policy as it is today. It doesn't have all that other language in it.
Okay, so the attachment was the one that would have been in the meeting tonight.
Right.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, this one that popped up. Yeah, there it is, just like.
And where that will be helpful for us is there is generally a delay of a couple of weeks between the time the board or the committee approves a policy and when Neola can get it through their publishing. When we have that document up for action and approval, we can get people to the location where they can easily see that policy language instead of us having to scan that to them, in an email based off of an individual request. Or when Lynn sends an update out to our administration on when a policy was updated, she doesn't have to attach those policies anymore because the link to it will be right here in BoardDocs for us. So people will be able to access it much easier than what they have in the past, even if it is.
So the share link would be coming so handy.
What's that?
That's where the share link would come in so handy. It's just been approved. You could send it to anybody that would, need to know that it's been changed, like right after the meeting.
Correct, but it'll also be then public for them right after the meeting. So people can, will eventually develop the habit of going to BoardDocs and searching for the approved policy language instead of having to slow things down on their end by either searching through an old email or, requesting access to it. It'll just be there and part of the public information for everyone.
Correct. Yep. So as you can see, what's in blue on my screen here is the policy as it is today. And I didn't mean to click on that, but now it's blue. This is the attachment with the proposed revisions for tonight. So you can see it in process, and then there'll be another one to go to board since it was approved. And then like Joe said, that one will be what we can reference until the proposed revisions replace this one down here. So it's really kind of slick to be able to have all the different stages and versions, especially if there's changes that have been proposed and approved by the committee, by the board.
All these other policies that are on the screen, 11, 10, 92, are these just ones that had those words in the policy?
Correct. They probably have the word time or effort. It's probably canceling out the word and. I think if I might use a better search by enclosing it in quotes, I might just get,
Oh.
nah, no, it didn't do it that
Changed
way.
it, did it?
No,
The 8 though, that's better than the last one.
right, exactly. The more specific you are, the less you'll get. The more,
Like if you
Broad.
added the word reporting, time and effort reporting,
so if I do reporting, it doesn't give me a summary, but it goes on and on and on and on.
Like,
Time and effort reporting would probably be smaller.
So if I wanted to
it's
do,
190 matches, just how many times do you have to report different kinds of things?
right. And I think it takes each word individually. So anytime the word time,
There you go.
There's just 3.
correct.
yeah, and I think if you put it in quotes, I think it's a Boolean search, whatever, it'll search for those particular words in that particular order. If it's
Right.
not in quotes, it just looks for that combination.
Right.
Okay.
So in some of those other policies, when I did have just time and effort here, it may have been literally the words time and effort to put into something. So it's extremely literal. It's not looking at time and effort reporting in the context that we're thinking of it in. So that's the search feature. It's very broad. If you wanted to just look at meetings and not the policies, it comes up very differently. So you can look for just that. So that's pretty cool. Feel free to play around with that. The next thing I wanted to show was when you do get a login and a password, this is how you log in. You'll be assigned a username and a password. And then once you're in, you have a lot more features. I'm not going to click on any of these drop downs because some things might be confidential in here, but there's a lot more that becomes available for those people with logins and passwords to see confidential or closed meeting type documents.
The password you mentioned for the login that we're going to get, that's separate from the password we're using to get, for instance, email or anything else. That'll be a unique password for this access?
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Correct.
We need another password, you know.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And that was all I had.
Related to that password, Lynn, is that one that we'd be able to change, or is it one that they want to keep consistent, that's the password that's assigned to each board member?
You'll be able to change it to whatever works for you. You just have to use the one assigned to get in the first time, and then you can, let me go in. There is a spot where you can, once you're logged in, get your contact info, change your password. Absolutely. And that was all I had to show for you today. Are there any other questions?
What's under the library? As you take a look at something, again, this is in the confidential one.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the public site.
Okay. But just to know how far back records would go.
The library has, yeah, not,
Nothing there. Okay.
yeah, we didn't elect to put goals or anything. We didn't elect to set up some of this stuff. So that may be more evident what's in there once we use it more.
Okay. But it would actually be a from here forward type of a situation, whatever we choose
Sure.
to put into it.
I bet we could put in there, like under this board members section, it could be very similar to what we see on our website under board members, contact information and a brief biography, perhaps.
Contact information would be helpful as we're struggling, you know, if they have like the help number for Steve Schloman type of thing, to have that like right there might be helpful.
Sure. And I think maybe, you know, same way, once you're logged in, we could have certain things. And then for the public, other things. So yeah, we can add to this. We can create what we want in here as we move forward.
As we move forward is a good choice of words. What else is going on to get to this point? Now, I know that, for instance, talking to Sue, she's getting some training or did get it. I don't know which. And so what's unfolding as we go through this now?
Well,
timeline or something.
Sure. Sue, as the board secretary, is going to be trained, and from there, I think board members will be set up with logins and passwords, and then I think we'll have to look into possibly some training around.
Oh, yes.
It might just be Sue or I having a one-on-one with each of you. I don't think it's anything necessarily where we all have to come in and meet with a trainer virtually or something like that. But I asked to be trained sooner. I've been using this for 3 years for the policies. It operates in a similar manner in the meetings and agenda section. So I wanted to get up and running to get familiar with it and have something to present for each of you tonight. So I can update each of you with the timeline for that when I know more.
Okay.
Please know that there's going to be I was just going to piggyback on what Lynn was saying. Please know that there's going to be a transition phase as we do this. I mean, we're not saying that we're going to go live in June and you must have it figured out in June. We're going to go until there's a level of comfort with the board and with the assistants and the administration. As there has been a lot of new in technology for all of us lately, we want to make sure that we phase this in appropriately.
Yeah.
Corey, I think you had a question.
I did. Thank you. I am a big fan of having my binder that I bring to every meeting and highlight and all that stuff. But so I was a little not hesitant, but just kind of anxious to see how this would work. And I like it. It's very similar to what we use in the court system. There's two systems, one for the attorneys in the courts, and then the other one's for the public.
Oh,
I think it's going to be great.
excellent. It's good to hear. Thank you. Yeah. And so, yeah, when I set these up for tonight, I did both. Obviously, you received your traditional paper packets. I think I emailed you everything electronically, and then we also have this. So I think it'll be a great idea to do it both ways for all of us for the next, at least month or so.
Lynn, what we looked at here was a meeting we're in, and the meeting is coming up. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. If we close this down later tonight, can we go back and see the same stuff? Can we see this so we could walk through it individually?
Absolutely. Right now, what you're looking at is what's on our website right now.
Okay. So
You want me to go through the steps again?
well, yeah.
Not a problem.
Homepage.
So from the homepage of the School District of Waukesha, again, for just now, go to Policies under the Board of Education tab. Click on the link to be directed to the policies.
Okay.
BoardDocs will load. Now you're still in the internet, but you're in the BoardDocs program. No login required. This is all public information. Go to meetings, and on the left side, choose your meeting.
Yeah, that's where it changes, because up till now I've used that for policies to get a policy, but
Correct.
this would take me to the meetings. That's what I was looking for. Okay, thank you.
Correct. And once we're going to be using it more, then we will get that right on the front page of the website.
Diane, you have a question?
I do. Joe, would this count as being officially posted? Once we post it here, it would be in BoardDocs, and if somebody, wants to that there's a special board meeting tonight at, you know, for the public hearing. Would this count as being posted or not?
This would count as the posting on the district website, but it would not count as those official Class A postings that we have to do with the media, or the postings that we have to do in public places in our district. But this would take care of the, you know, this, once this goes live and is on the main site of the district webpage, you know, where people can easily access it, this would then count as the district posting. You wouldn't have to go from the homepage to the Finance and Facilities Committee, or I'm sorry, for the homepage to the Board of Education, the Finance and Facilities Committee, to find the agenda for their meeting. This would take on a different feel.
And right now, I like the fact that you can go there and hit the view and be able to get the link. Is that for the people, you know, that want to just, you know, casually come in and be involved in the process? You know, that makes it very convenient for them to potentially have access to be a participant.
Yeah.
And then just to tag on to what Joe was saying, Sue, the other assistants like myself, there won't be anything extra that needs to be done to satisfy that open meetings law, posting in a public place, posting to the media. We can simply print it from here and as a PDF, send it to the media, just like it is right now via email sent to the media and the schools, things like that.
Well, here, could you use the share and just have a distribution list to each of the schools and to the media sources?
I'm not sure. We'll have to look at that statute a little more closely. It's pretty specific in the open meetings laws about the part that goes to the public and the media. So this satisfies our internet piece.
We've got discussions going on right now about that, so don't drop that one. Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lynn, for taking the time to give us the little preview.
Sure. And the meeting that's next this evening is also out there as well, if you're curious.
That's the one right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing my screen right now. We'll get back to the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we have no other action items or discussion items, but we would ask if you have any recommendations for a future meeting, things that need to be brought to a future meeting.
I think
Oh, Corey?
Sorry, I do not.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we have a bunch of Neolas waiting for us.
I was just going to ask that.
we do as we work on getting the rest of the current packet up to speed, Neola is going to be fast tracking a second release. Title IX has been updated at the federal level, and there is a lot of policy work that will come as a result of that change. I emailed with Richard from Neola today. They anticipate having that to us within a month or so. So I would anticipate on the June meeting, the first round of policies that would be updated pertaining to the Title IX change. That impacts both employees, students, visitors to our site. So we'll be looking at that.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
If we have nothing other as needed, we can just say that the next policy committee meeting is June 16th. I didn't check the calendar, but that sounds right. Okay. We don't know if we're going to be doing them this way or the other way, but we'll be doing a meeting. Reminder, there's a short, hopefully a short full board meeting at 5 o'clock. Lynn, are you also hosting that one?
Yes.
Okay. So other than that, see you all in 20 minutes. Thank you.
Y'all take